everybody, it's your pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, bringing you Monday Minutes. It's another week, and we're getting closer to our shows, and I know a lot of you purchase other people's sequences, and maybe you purchase mine, I don't know. But if you do, there's a good chance that you may stumble upon something that's highly frustrating, and I'm going to try to walk you through this and make it less frustrating. If you're buying other people's sequences and they have these massive mega trees and massive P5, P4, P2 panels, and you buy the sequence because you've seen it on their website and you're thinking, man, this is going to look great on my show. It's going to be amazing. And then you watch it play back and letters are cut off in the spelling of words and the resolution's not there and you sort of feel like you've been duped. I get it. So resolution matters in this hobby. And let's face it, I have a 30, well, it depends on the year. It could be 32 strings, it could be 36. In xLights, it's always 36. But you may have a 16 string tree. You know, you've got 16 of these rows going across this way vertically, and suddenly these effects may not be looking as you thought they would when you purchased the sequence, or even if you're just getting someone's shared sequences, it's the same challenge. Now, we've discussed various ways through the years that you can combat this. I've done other videos on this. Certainly for text, you could go in and select all the text, right-click, bulk edit, and change the size of all of them. That's one way. But that could be a bit tedious. As far as things like mega trees, this is a big one. Spirals is huge in that if there are too many spirals for the main tree that you purchase, but your tree is much less denser, or should I say just much less dense, you may run into problems and have to eliminate some of the number of effects in there. You may have to change it from 5 to 4 or 3 to 2, or if there's snow and various other competing effects on that mega tree, you have to decide, maybe I just need to get rid of some of that, or I have to lessen it. Well, I'm going to show you another way today that might be a great option. And the beauty of this is, if you're getting other people's sequences, chances are you're getting a zip file. And in that zip file is their show. That's their world, that's their effects, and boom, we can work with that. So let's take a look at the screen here, and I'll show you the layout. We're only going to be working with my mega tree, which it happens to be, I believe this is 32 strings. See, every year it may change to 36 this year. Don't know. 32 by 100 nodes. That's typically what I put in my layout. The matrix, on the other hand, that's a big boy. This is 256 by 448. This is a P5 panel. This is 56 panels. So that is going to be 7 across and 8 deep to give it this look here. Okay, fair enough. Let's go back to our sequencer. If we look at some of the effects that are playing here, and I'll just make this really big, you can see that there's lyrics in here, or words being spelled out. This is "We Will Rock You." And you can see there's quite a bit of stuff going on the mega tree. That's cool, no worries. Let's look at some other effects. We've got some stars resolving in here, spinning. We've got Freddie singing with his big old lips there and his moustache with some shaders in the background. And that looks cool. So what happens when you take some of this and you map it over using the Automagic, where you're going to import the zip file? Well, let's take a look at that. I'm going to bring over another instance of xLights, and this has just the matrix, which happens to be a pixel matrix. This is going to be, I believe, 25 by 50. And then we have several trees here. We have a 16 by 50, a 24 by 50. We have a 16 by 100, 24 by 100, and then we have a 36 by 100 mega tree. And the goal is to try to make these look as good as they can without doing too much work. Now, I am sort of a firm believer in as much as I can, Most of my sequences will include all of the effects for the matrix and the megatree. There have been a few sequences that I released last year that I just put the matrix on there because I just felt like, my goodness, you know, people are going to say this doesn't resolve well on their pixel matrix. But I'm taking a different stance on that, I think, going forward, and that is, let's just put the effects on there, if there are effects. If it's video work, that's a little bit different and a little more complicated of a discussion. But for this sequence, there's quite a bit of effects going on. So if I click on here, we can see all of this resolving, and it looks a little messy on the smaller trees. On the less dense trees, it looks like it's a little messy. If we look at the matrix, let's go over here and look at some of the lyrics. That part, I mean, that's okay. It's not too bad. If we get over here in this section, you can see right away we can't read these lyrics. The words are cut off because they work perfect on my P5. But on this 25 by 50 pixel matrix, or probably any other pixel matrix, they're gonna be really tough to read. So you're sort of forced to go in here at the level of the effects, and you'd have to first define, well, what size works, and then you'd have to select all the effects, and then you need to right click bulk edit in the effects font size and change them all. Or since you're in my world now, why don't we simplify this and allow you to create just a couple of video files. And this is specifically for the megatree and for the matrix, okay? So if we go up to my megatree, I can right click, and this is what we're gonna need to do. And maybe Ron should turn on his Enable Cursor Pro. He paid for it, might as well use it. This is what I'd like you to do. And there's a rule to this. It has to be the model. It cannot be in a group. This will not work with anything in a group. This is one of the reasons I never put my megatrees in a group. I never put my matrix in a group. Okay? So I will, at least my main matrix, I will right click on the megatree and I will scroll down to where it says model. This little guy right here, model. I will click on this to the right and you'll see there's a whole bunch of choices. Thank you, xLights, for overwhelming me again with so many choices. But the one that we really want to work with is this one called render or export. If you've already rendered the sequence, then you don't need to render and export. If it's the first time you're working with this, you can hit render and export. It'll all do the same thing. You click export and it's going to ask you, great, it's an uncompressed video, or do you want a compressed video? I would make this uncompressed. And by the way, this should be MP4. I would make this an uncompressed video MP4. I think the default is AVI, and that was changed some time ago, I believe, by Dan Culps. So I would make it .mp4, and then you're going to put this in a location. I'm going to put this on the desktop for now, megatree, save, and then click OK. And what we're doing here is letting xLights convert all of these effects into one video file. And guess what effect we'll use in the layout with your megatrees or matrix? That's right, a video file. And so we'll do the same thing with the matrix. We'll right click on it. We're going to click model, export, and then make sure it's uncompressed video MP4. And then we're also going to save this to the desktop. Matrix 1, that's good. Save and OK. And you'll notice in the bottom left here, don't get out of xLights while it's working. You'll see in the bottom, it says starting export for uncompressed videos.mp4 UNC. Let it do its business. Let it get finished with the processing. It'll tell you when it's over. You just kind of keep an eye on it over here on the left because it's still starting that. And this is going to give us a couple of files. Okay, while that's chewing on that, I'm going to go back over here to our other layout. And we saw how this is sort of an issue. what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another sequence that I have that is called We Will Rock You Videos. I'm going to discard changes, don't need that. So all I have is the music. I have no effects on here. And because we have saved these video files from the original sequencers world onto the desktop, we can now use a video file, and let's start with the matrix. And just drop it on there. Don't worry about the size of this. You don't have to stretch it out to the end. We want to click on this browse button down here, and we're going to browse to the desktop, and we're going to look for matrix1.mp4. That's the export from the sequencer's show of all the effects on the matrix. Great. Click open. And that puts it there. What I would do is just make sure it's selected. You come down here. Let me raise this up just a little bit. You come down to this area right here where it says match effects to video duration. Select that. And that will make the video from the beginning to the end the full duration that it should be. We're going to do the same thing with Megatree 1. We're just going to go over here. We're going to drop down the video effect. We're going to browse. That's going to be the desktop. We want the Megatree. Open this. Again, with that selected, match effect video duration. We're going to copy this. Command-C on a Mac, Control-C on a Windows. Copy that. And then I'm going to paste this in each of the trees. And then we are going to render this. And we're going to see what it looks like. Now, one of the things you may notice, certainly with the .avi files, they looked really sort of dim. That when this feature was first available, you really had to pump up the brightness. So if something looks too faint, it's sort of just not keeping up with the rest of the show as far as brightness, at any time you can come into that effect and you can tell it to brighten up right here. So if I take this from 100 to, I don't know, let's go all the way to 400. Now I'm going to have to re-render this because I've made that change, but you'll get an idea of just how bright you can make that. When you watch it play back live, you'll know if it's too bright, and you can always change it. I think 400 is probably going to be a little bit too much for .mp4, but for .avi, it might just be right. So while this is finishing up rendering, I'm just going to play this from the beginning, and we're going to look at all the trees and see what it's doing. And let's scoot you down. You did not play. There we go. There we go. And you just docked, didn't you? Hold down that command key when you're moving that window around. So what you're going to see here are the various trees with the effects. What we're looking for is to see how good do they look. Even with the low density, do they look better than if you imported the sequences from the zip file? And I'm going to say they do, because we're going to have that uniformity. If the effect's at the bottom, it's going to be at the bottom on all 5 trees. And if you look at the fonts, you can see all of the fonts are fitting. I mean, that's a pretty low resolution matrix with the pixel matrix, but these effects are looking great on it. So don't ever feel bad for having a pixel matrix in your show. You know, not all of the world wants or needs a P5 panel. It's great to have, but you know, it requires a different setup, and there's some maintenance with that. But with pixels, as we all know, there's a bit of maintenance with pixels too. So if you're rocking a pixel matrix, there's nothing wrong with that. And this looks pretty cool. You know, from a distance, you know, we're looking at this really close. It's going to look really, really good. All right, let's stop that. Let's bring you back over in here. So again, if you're rocking out with a less dense matrix or possibly mega trees, don't worry about the sequences you're getting from anybody, even if they're going with super high resolution on their shows. You can simply right-click on the model, export, get it to that .mp4 that's uncompressed, bring that video effect, browse to it, select it, link it, and now you've got the best effects you can have. On top of that, you'll also have the original effects if you want to use those. So later, if you upgrade that pixel matrix to a P5, well, you could either use the same export or just go with the effects and start deconstructing and learn how it all works and have fun. All right. I hope this has been helpful for you. This is a lot of fun for me to impart this knowledge, and we never stop learning this hobby. And if you get a chance, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I think you should. I keep doing these every Monday. I get a kick out of it, and I love hearing the feedback. Drop me a comment below what you felt was valuable about this particular tutorial. Love to hear your feedback. All right, I'm Ron. This has been Monday Minutes. See ya.